Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. A little bit of a delay. Unfortunately, we're having some Zoom problems at the moment. So we're going to begin and wish Zoom land. I just got a thumbs up. Zoom land, we are connected. Yes, so welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton, and welcome especially to those who are visiting with us this morning, and also those who are now officially with us online. Good morning, everyone. It's good to have you with us. My name is Gordon Ritchie. Susan Rattan and I will be your service leaders this morning. Our minister, Reverend Rosemary Morrison, is technically off today. I'm hearing giggles from the piano. Technically off today, but she has graciously agreed to be our pianist for this morning. So thank you, Reverend Rosemary Morrison. Our theme for the month of September has been belonging. This morning we focus on our belonging to the earth. Our guest speaker is Cheryl Whiskeyjack, who is the executive director of Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society. And I will have the great pleasure of introducing her to you later on in the service. As Unitarian Universalists, we are bound together not by a common common set of beliefs, but by our promise to support one another in our individual searches for truth and meaning, guided by principles and drawing from many sources. And so whatever you believe, whoever you love, however you understand family, whatever your age, race, or ability, however you identify, you are welcome here. We invite you to join us in a journey of free thought, spiritual questing, and justice making. Before we get into announcements, I would like to draw your attention to the banners that are behind me, the two fabric hangings that we have. This is the second time that we've had these hangings up. A couple of years ago, Robert and I were at an Indigenous trade show, and I met a lovely Cree woman who had a table filled with gorgeous fabric. And a lot of this, or in fact, all of this fabric was designed by Indigenous artists. So I thought, this is what we need to have in our sanctuary. So all the colors and the symbolism of this fabric is very, very special, for what I understand, to spiritual well-being of the Indigenous people. So we hang these banners specifically for the month of September to acknowledge not only National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, but also for Orange Shirt Day. I've been told of one church-related announcement, and that is by Maria.
My name is Maria Odekirk. My pronouns are she and her, and I just wanted to give another reminder that we are planning our first church potluck for October the 19th, which is the week after Thanksgiving, because a lot of us are busy on Thanksgiving. Just after church, if you would like to join us, just bring something to share, and I am going to be asking for some help a little bit later, a little bit closer to, with setup, tear down, clean up, those sorts of things. Just keep it in mind. Thank you.
Come on down.
Good morning. Something Maria said reminded me. There was going to be a flea market in Keeler Hall, so we asked that the tables from the wedding yesterday be left set up, but that flea market has been canceled. So after church, we could really use some help putting away the tables and chairs that are in Keeler Hall. Thank you.
Actually, with that in mind, thank you, Reverend Rosemary, for reminding me of something too I'd like to announce. Here in the sanctuary yesterday, we had a lovely celebration of marriage for Lyndon and Sandy, and it was lovely to be here, and we certainly wish them well. And so now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship. Let us go. Please see Sylvia after the service. She has a very important announcement and petition regarding Keep Alberta in Canada. Please see her or Marilyn after the service. Thank you. And so now, all going well, let us now prepare our hearts and minds for worship. Let us let go, just for a moment, of the everyday world. Let us quiet ourselves, as well as any electronic devices that you may have with you. Thank you. And let us create a special place in this hour to simply be together. In the spirit of life and love, we gather. We begin our service with a lovely recording, the music of Carlos Nakai, entitled Shaman's Call.
We begin our gathering acknowledging that we are located on Treaty 6 territory. We respect the histories, language, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. We never forget that we live in a region that had more residential schools than any other part of Canada. We acknowledge the huge damage that fact continues to cause. We celebrate the progress that is being made to give our First Peoples their rightful place. Now I invite Kathy Loisel to come out and light the chalice. Words for Chalice Lighting by Craig Rowland. As we light this chalice, may each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us. We're going to sing a hymn. Number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning, on the screen.
Our first reading is by Chief Seattle. The quote by Chief Seattle, "The earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth," captures a profound perspective of our relationship with the planet we inhabit. It suggests that rather than considering ourselves as a separate entity who possess the earth, we are interconnected with it, existing as an integral part of nature's tapestry. This notion is both humbling and thought-provoking, inviting us to reflect on our place in the world and our responsibility towards it. At first glance, this quote emphasizes the importance of stewardship and reverence for the environment. It reminds us that we are merely tenants on the planet, temporary inhabitants entrusted with the care of its resources for the generations to come. Our actions must therefore be guided by a deep respect for nature, understanding that our well-being is intrinsically tied to the well-being of the earth itself. Now, delving deeper into this sentiment, the quote prompts us to consider a more expansive concept, the idea that our individual identities are not separate from the earth, but are an inseparable part of it. Each breath we take, each step we make, resonates with the heartbeat of the earth. It means that our thoughts, actions, and even intentions have the potential to contribute to a wider consciousness that dwells within all things. Chief Seattle's quote, therefore, captures not only an ecological truth, but also provokes a philosophical shift in our perspective of the world. It calls us to recognize the earth's intrinsic value and its symbiotic relationship we share with it. When we acknowledge that we belong to the earth rather than viewing it as something to be owned, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of our place in the grand tapestry of existence.
Now, sharing our abundance. We need a couple of volunteers. Thank you. Good. And whenever you're ready, volunteers, just go for it. Our community is entirely self-governing and self-supporting. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from amongst ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to us as a Unitarian community. In addition to supporting this church community, we also make a monthly commitment beyond our walls. 1/2 of the unidentified cash that is received is given to an outside organization. This month, we are sharing it with the Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society. We are fortunate today to have with us Cheryl Whiskeyjack, who is executive director of that organization. Oh, yes. Let us sing From You I Receive. Please remain seated.
I thank you for your generosity. Not only does it support the work that we do here, but also the wider community. Our next reading is by Barbara Ford, entitled, "What Does It Mean to Belong to the Earth?" At present, it seems that our Western culture has slowly devolved into a culture of disassociation, where we as a people have become estranged from the natural world, from community, from our bodies, from our creativity, from the mystery. Either by choice or necessity, many people are hurrying through their lives, receiving information and entertainment mediated by electronics, driving past each other on their way home, eating mass-produced food grown and prepared by strangers. we are forgetting in this hurried and stressful culture that we are creatures moving and breathing on a living planet. I believe that this forgetting of our place on the earth is a source of vast wells of personal and collective loneliness, disempowerment, and grief. The Unitarian Universalist seventh principle reminds us that we are to hold respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. The "of which we are a part" section is deeply important because otherwise we may become lost in the false separation between ourselves as human beings and the rest of the earthly realm. This visceral moment of remembering our connections to the all is what I call grace. It may be in a garden, or sitting with a child, or working side by side with a friend on a special project. It is a practice of mindfulness, this belonging, noticing that what is, feeling it in the core. The beautiful thing about grace is that it is everywhere, waiting for your attention. And once you deeply know your belonging, you feel more deeply motivated and empowered to act on behalf of the all. Time for another hymn. It's number 173. We celebrate the web of life. As I'm sure those of you who are online, you will notice that your lyrics have come up on the screen. I trust that you're singing along with us. And for you here in the sanctuary, I invite you to rise as you are willing and able as we join in singing number 175. Well, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Cheryl Whiskeyjack, as mentioned, is the executive director of the Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society and has been with Bent Arrow just about since its inception 30 years ago. Now she oversees a suite of 24 different programs and services. The organization's programming connects Indigenous clients to the city around them and helps them build skills and resilience that they can use in other parts of their lives. Cheryl proudly serves as a board member of Align Association of Community Services, as well as PolicyWise for Children and Family. She also serves on the Indigenous Advisory Committee with the Alberta Human Rights Commission. She acts as a mentor for the Edmonton Chamber of Voluntary Organizations Executive Director Mentorship Program and represents Bent Arrow through C5, a collaboration partnership of 5 nonprofit using innovative engagement in vulnerable neighborhoods. Cheryl is proud of a strong partnership she has maintained across sectors. A graduate of Child and Youth Care Program at Grant MacEwan University in 1995, and was recognized with a Distinguished Alumni Award in 2018. Now, that's what she's given me, and then I did a little snooping, and I have found even more information about Cheryl. I also found incredible articles written about her and written by her, and this one I came across. She was recognized with an honorary doctorate of laws by the University of Alberta in 2021. Now, I'd like to quote Cheryl on this. This is an article that I found, and she said, "The stuff that makes me swing my legs out of bed every day is the way that our systems continue to respond and continue to get the same results. I get to work in a place that's very aligned with the way that I think the work should be happening. And I'm in a place now in my career where people listen to what I have to say." Well, guess what? I, for one, am very anxious to hear what she has to say. Cheryl, would you please join me up on the stage? And I should point out that Cheryl very kindly has agreed to stay for a little bit after the service, because I know there'll be people who will want to chat with her. Cheryl, on behalf of the Unitarian Church of Edmonton, I welcome you here this morning. And I would also like to acknowledge and honor the work that you do, not only with Bent Arrow, but also in the greater community here in Edmonton. Knowing that our theme this morning is focused on belonging, I offer you this bundle with a request that you share with us your teaching and wisdom, so that we may not only strengthen our own commitment to caring for the earth, but also to deepen our connection and respect for all beings as we continue on a path towards healing.
I'm going to set my timer because I can talk. And I have 20 minutes. So my watch will quietly buzz in 20 minutes. Thank you for the introduction, and don't even mind that you snooped on me a little bit. Yeah, because I like that I say that, because it's true. So what I'm going to share with you today is going to sound very familiar to what you've been hearing so far, but they are words of thanksgiving from the Haudenosaunee, which are our relatives to the east here on Turtle Island. And it is just so appropriate for what you guys are here to learn and reflect on and think about today. So it's a Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address, and it's greetings to the natural world. Today we have gathered and see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. And now our minds are one. We are thankful to our mother, the earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks. And now our minds are one. We give thanks to the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls, rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of the water. Now our minds are one. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us for food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So now we turn to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing the plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped people to survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them greetings of thanks. Now our minds are one. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They were always ready and waiting to heal us. We are happy there are still among us a special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and the keepers of the medicines. Now our minds are one. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives so that we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and deep in the forests. We are glad they are still there, and we hope that they will always be so. Now our minds are one. Now we turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use the tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our greetings and thanks. And now our minds are one. We are grateful to all the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air that we breathe. They help to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring them water, with them water that renews life. We are thankful that they keep those evil things made by oak wisers under the ground. We bring our minds together as one to seek greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now our minds are one. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels from the sky, from the east to the west, bringing light of a new day. He is the source of all fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. And now our minds are one. We put our minds together to give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of all women in the world. She governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of all children here on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now our minds are one. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bring dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to the stars. Now our minds are one. We gather our minds to greet and help and thank the enlightened teachers who come here to help us throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we are instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds are one. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, the Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is right here on Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds are one. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it is not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each of you to send greetings and thanks in their own way. And now our minds are one. So when Gordon reached out to me, talked about what the theme was for today or this month, I thought about this, and I often share it in many different ways with many different groups. And one of the things that always happens afterwards is people say, "Can I get them?" So I've already, while I was sitting here this morning, sent them off to Gord. So if anybody here wants these words, Gord has them in his email inbox, and he'll happily forward them off to any of you if you want them. I think they're wonderful. So I wanted to lead that into the story of Bentero. Because there's a really good story. We didn't just choose this name out of the sky. It comes with a really great story and really great meaning and a really great sort of message about how I'm able to show up every day, and not just me, but hopefully you, when you hear the story. And it's a story about connection and how we are all sort of related to one another as we are related to the earth, because it all starts from there and grows outwards. So our founders at Bentero are a couple from two worlds. Shauna, Scottish on both sides of her family for many generations, and Brad, who is Indigenous and Anishinaabe from around the Ottawa area in Ontario. Shauna was born and raised in Edmonton and area. Brad moved out here in the late 80s, I believe it was, for many of the reasons people move to Alberta, which is for work. They came together in ceremony out in the community. That's how they met. And they talked about how much work, so this would have been late 80s, early 90s, came together to talk about how much work Edmonton needs to do around how we serve Indigenous people here in the city. At the time, there was programs in the community, life skills programs, financial literacy programs, parenting programs, but they were sort of for everybody. And Shauna knew from hanging out in ceremony in the community and her role as a social worker for the government of Alberta, knew that Indigenous people needed something more than what was currently out there at that time. And so they came together to talk about starting up this nonprofit, and their roots, the very first group that they wanted to serve were Indigenous youth, because that's who Shauna and Brad were serving in their current roles in community. And so that's where they started. And so they started up this pre-employment program for Indigenous youth, and they called it Bentero. The reason they called it Bentero was because Brad shared a story with Shauna about how when he was a young boy, he spent time out on the land with his grandfather. Very, very lucky to have done this. Got many teachings from his grandfather, and one of the very first teachings he got from him was the lesson that everything we do in life is a ceremony. And that's the way he wanted Brad to look at the world. That as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, your ceremony has begun, right? When you wake up in the morning, you give thanks for this world, for this life, for all the things that you have that are going to get you through that day. And the very first thing that often happens is mom is making breakfast for the family, right? So you can look at it as a meal that starts your day, or you can look at it as a part of your ceremony. And it is a part of Mom's ceremony. So it is not just a meal. This food that Mom is preparing for the family is going to help the children learn and grow so that they can go out there and do those things, because that's what it is the job of children to do, is to learn and grow. It's going to nourish them so that they can do that in a good way. For their partner, it is for them to have the strength to get through the day for whatever those daily tasks were. It could have been a hunt. It could have been building something, but you need that sustenance to be able to get through that chore of the day. So it wasn't just a meal, right? It was part of the bigger picture. And if you are the husband in this scenario, the partner in this scenario, and your job was to hunt or to build, you need that strength to go out there to be able to do that in a good way. That's a part of your ceremony. If you enter into that ceremony not in a good way, not sustained in a good way, not thinking in a good way, whatever you build is not going to, so if you're going to build a teepee or a wigwam or whatever structure it is that you're going to be building, it's not going to turn out well, right? Because you're not set up to go into that in a good way. So your teepee might blow over in a good stiff breeze. It might not keep out the elements of nature that you needed to, so to keep your family safe and warm. It might not be able to do those things. So you see, it's not just building a teepee or something like that. It's something, a part of something bigger that has bigger meaning for your family. I also, when I tell that story, often help people understand about that ceremony Mother goes through when she prepares meals for her family. When anybody in this room could probably think of someone in their life who made the best pierogies, who made the best cabbage rolls, who makes the best bannock. That is their ceremony you are tasting and taking in. They put the best of them into that so that you feel that when you're eating it, and that's why you think it's the best of what they have to offer you. So for the kids, they're out there, they're learning, they're growing, they're playing. Oh, thank you so much. They're learning, they're growing, they're playing, and as they grow older, they go on hunts. Usually it's the little boys, they go on hunts. And to this day, when our young men go out on a hunt, to this day, in communities, they make those offerings so that they ask for, Creator's help and guidance so that their hunt is successful. Because it's not just about a trophy. It is about sustenance for their family, for their community. It's about clothes for them. It's about tools that they can use and make out of the bones and things in the animal that they're going to be killing. So it's not just about success in getting that. It's about so much bigger than that in those olden times. And to this day, when our young men go out on a hunt, they make those offerings. And when they are successful, they make another offering as thanks for that offering of that animal for giving themselves so that their families can, sustain themselves in a good way. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, when Brad and Shauna came together to look at starting up this organization called Bent Arrow, they wanted to work with Indigenous youth. And the reason they called it Bent Arrow is when you're building your weapons for the hunt, when you're building your arrows, if you build an arrow that's bent, it's not going to meet its target. It's going to veer off course, and it's not going to get that animal that you're trying to take down for your community. And they saw our young people as bent arrows at the time. So these were young people in the late 80s, early 90s. They were dabbling in gangs, trying to be courted by them. Maybe they were dabbling in drugs and starting to try those things, maybe starting to try alcohol for the first time. So they were really at this place where if we could get them and keep them, we could get them on the right path. And so they were bent arrows. They weren't broken, that we were going to try and get them flying straight so that they could meet their targets. And that's where the name Bent Arrow came from Brad and Shauna. So one of the very first things that these young people taught us when we finally got funding for that very first program, we got them into a room and we started doing pre-employment skills, life skills, financial literacy skills, all of those skills that we wanted them to have. One of the very first things that these young people taught us is that they weren't alone in the struggle. Like, we couldn't spend from 9 till 3 with these young people every day and do all this wonderful work with them and then send them back into these environments where people around them were also struggling, right? So Bentero grew very mindfully over the years with that in mind, that we can't just serve the person, we have to serve all the people around that person, because everything is connected and related. So Dad may have been struggling with employment, getting a job, keeping a job. Maybe Mom was struggling with parenting or mental health or whatever. But there were people around them that were often struggling. If Dad was struggling with employment, then that meant finances were an issue. That meant shelter was an issue. That meant food on your table was an issue. So it wasn't just a job that Dad needed. It was really so much more than a job that Dad needed. And so we always looked at the whole of the person sitting in that chair. For everyone at Bentero that we serve, we could never just look at that person if they're here for parenting, if they're here for employment, if they're here for housing. We can't just look at them in that one way. We have to look at them in all the ways of their being so that we can help them be successful going forward. This advanced in around 2014 when we started to hear about things like truth and reconciliation and the truth and reconciliation gatherings that were happening all across the land. There were 7 gatherings that happened in Canada, and Edmonton was the final gathering that happened. The reason it was the last one is because it was mentioned this morning that Alberta had the highest concentration of residential schools in all of Canada, and there was a recognition from the Commission that we're still feeling the results of that time in our history today, and so they saved Edmonton as the last gathering. So what happened at Bentero pre-2014 was we were out there talking about the way we need to work with people is this way, and this is why it's important. And sometimes we got a friendly ear who believed that that's the way we should be doing it, and sometimes we didn't. But after 2014, I think my 20 minutes are up. After 2014, it went by fast, right? After 2014, our phones started ringing off the hook, right? Faith-based groups were getting a hold of us, our colleagues in the non-sector were getting a hold of us. Everybody wanted to respond to these calls to action in a good way. And so Bentero's phone started ringing. So whenever I get a call from anybody in the community to come out and talk about helping people along in this journey, I always do my very best to respond to that call in a good way, because many hands make light work. And so the more people we can get learning and growing in this area, it's less work for us in the long run. So I want to thank Gordon for the invitation to come out here today and for your time here this morning to listen. I've agreed to stick around a little while after the service, and then I have to race off to take my niece for a haircut. Life is busy, but I always remind myself that I don't have to do this work. I get to do this work. So thank you.
So before the service, I was actually reminded that I believe that it was the last time that Cheryl was here. It was that visit that started the creation of our Indigenous banner that is now hanging proudly in our sanctuary. And so now let us take a moment to enter into a time of quiet meditation, and I offer you this reflection on Orange Shirt Day. Orange Shirt Day is inspired by Felix Jack of Webstad's experience. On her first day at residential school in 1973, She was stripped of her new orange shirt, a shirt that had brought her a sense of affirmation and dignity. Canadians are asked to wear an orange as a sign of support for children and communities affected by Indian residential school system. Wearing an orange shirt can promote discussion, helping us to remember the devastating impacts of residential schools and the courageous testimonies of survivors. Within our tradition, every Sunday at other churches around the world, we light candles. For those of you who are online, I would invite you to write your thoughts into the chat. But for us here in the sanctuary, I invite you to come around to the side if you would. We have tapers here. You can light your taper using the chalice and then move forward to light your candle. And on this Sunday, I would like us to pre-acknowledge Tuesday, September 30th, which is Orange Shirt Day, Day for Truth and Reconciliation. May we keep in our hearts at this time those who have suffered, those who can continue to suffer, not only the effects of this, but also others in their own way who are suffering, not only in our own lives, but around the world. But in that same way, let us light candles of joy, which we need. Candles of peace and love. If you'd like to light a candle, I invite you to come forward now as we embrace the silence. One by one, the candles lit, With each lighting of a candle, we dispel more of the darkness. This is community. I offer you a prayer for Orange Shirt Day. Today we wear orange to remember and honor all the Indigenous children who went to residential schools. Today we wear orange and we pray for the residential school and intergenerational survivors who are still struggling. Today we wear orange and we are thankful for those who speak the truth and who work to shine a light on justice. Today we wear orange in the name of compassion and the spirit of truth and reconciliation. Help us to remember and act on this every day. May it be so. Blessed be. We now have a responsive reading. I'm going to take this off and move aside. So this is by Charles Thomas. It's entitled, "We Are the Fundamentalists." I'm going to read the bold font, and I ask that you join in reading the italicized text. And again, those of you online, I encourage you to join in. We are the fundamentalists. Who believe in fundamentals of fairness, of equality, of equity. Who believe in caring for nature. Who believe in working toward peace, toward freedom for all. We are the fundamentalists. Thank you all. Yes?
I'd just like to say that I noticed we're not praying for any of the, you prayed for all the people that went to residential schools. But what about all the babies that were burnt alive? They didn't really go to the residential schools, but were burnt alive. They didn't go to the residential schools. We're not praying for those people. All those little babies that didn't go to school, like, we don't know, could have been thousands of them. We didn't mention any of those little souls. They were all souls. And you didn't mention one word about those little babies. You said all the people that went to the residential schools. And I just want to make sure that you understand that there was a lot of babies burned, and you didn't mention those souls. They were all souls that weren't, that you somehow forgot that these little babies. They never attended those schools. They were born in those schools and burnt alive. And you need to make sure that you remember those little souls, because they were all souls. And you didn't mention them once. And I don't forget about those little souls. Every day I wake up and think about all those little babies that got burned. So, I mean, I'm sorry to stop your sermon, but you
Thank you.
mention that, and we need to think about that, because we can't forget that.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate what you said, and thank you for sharing this with us this morning. For those of you who are online, may I ask your name? Timothy. Yeah, thank you, Timothy. For those of you who are online who may not have heard, Timothy was just talking about many, many lives who have been lost as a result of this, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. This is what I feel is so incredibly important as part of this journey. Yes, my people are not of this land. I acknowledge that. But on my journey personally, one of my intentions is to continue to hear stories, to hear information like you have just shared. Because yes, there is so much that I don't know. There's much that we don't know. There's so much that we are not aware of. And I thank you. I'm very grateful for your words this morning that you have shared this with us. Yes, we need to hear. Yes, we need to hear the truth. Yes, we need to hear what's happened so that we, in my judgment, can come together and continue to heal. Thank you for your words. I truly appreciate that. I do want to say some thank yous before we continue the service. There's much dialogue to continue with. I will add that as well. Much dialogue. Thank you for being here, all of you this morning. This is a very important service. This is one of my, to say it's one of my favorite services, it's a strange thing to say. This is a service that's become extremely important to me personally. I'm going to add this little bit. My great-great-grandfather was Captain W.S. Volume. He was head of the Red River Expedition. His job that he was given was to bring his troops from Ontario to Manitoba to deal with Louis Riel and his followers. That is my ancestry. I have that in my DNA. Luckily for me, when he came to Manitoba, Riel and his people had a little heads up, and they had left the country. For that, I am deeply grateful that I don't have to deal with potential repercussions that would have happened in that place. Yes, this is part of my history, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge all of you for being here, all of you who have been with us online. Reverend Rosemary, thank you for your music. Cheryl, you are a gift to us and a blessing. Susan, thank you for all of our tech team, for our slide people, our ushers, our coffee makers. There are so many people that come together within this beloved community to create a service like this, so I am deeply grateful. Thank you so much. Passing things over to Susan. Susan.
Closing words were inspired by American author and feminist Bell Hooks. The earth is not a possession, but a partner. Loving the land teaches how to love self and others with more clarity and humility. Ancestors lived this wisdom. They cultivated soil and spirit with equal care and shared techniques, stories, and reverence, not out of theory, but survival and mutual respect. The land sustained life, and that truth was honored. Waste, hoarding, and domination were rejected as violations of moral boundaries. Patience was learned from the rhythm of the seasons. Enough is produced when cooperation guides human behavior. The spiritual legacy of creation care remains urgent. Values like restraint, gratitude, and responsibility are not optional. We are part of the earth, and it is part of us. May these teachings endure. Now our last hymn, 207, Earth Was Given. I invite Kathy up to extinguish the chalice. And we do so with the words of Adam's Slate. Be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, be hopeful. This is how we keep the chalice flame burning until we are together again to light it anew. Now we will do carry the flame. As people know, we come in a circle and sing.